greenest place on Earth should not exist. The Amazon rainforest grows on some of the poorest soil in the world. Dig under the fallen leaves and you find thin, old, worn-out ground, almost empty. So how is the forest alive? The answer is not in South America. The answer is a desert, thousands of kilometers away across an ocean. This is the Sahara, about 9 million square kilometers of sand, rock, and heat. Larger than the whole of Australia. Almost nothing grows here. Almost nothing lives here. And yet every single year, the Sahara feeds the Amazon. That is not a nice comparison. It is measured. Satellites track it. Scientists weigh it in millions of tons. To understand how, you have to start with the rainforest's hidden problem. And the problem is rain. Many parts of the Amazon get more than 2 meters of rain a year. Some parts get much more than that. Rain gives life, but rain is also a thief. Water sinks through the ground and pulls the minerals down with it. Rivers carry them away. Floods wash them out to sea. The forest is slowly being rinsed clean. That is why the soil is poor. Almost all the food of the Amazon is not in the ground at all. It is inside the trees, the leaves, the insects, the fungi. Life holding on to life and passing it along. A leaf falls. Within weeks, it is broken down and pulled straight back up through shallow roots. It is a closed circle, and it works very well. But no circle is perfect. There is always a leak. The most important thing leaking out is phosphorus, a simple mineral and one that plants cannot live without. Plants use phosphorus to build roots, to make seeds, and to move energy inside every single cell. Every year, some of it escapes into the rivers, and the rivers carry it out into the Atlantic Ocean. Do that for thousands of years, and the forest should empty itself. It should slowly starve and thin out. It has not. Something keeps putting the phosphorus back, and that something is blowing in from Africa. Every year, wind lifts dust off the Sahara. Not a little dust. Roughly 180 million tons. The wind carries it west out over the Atlantic inside a huge, hot, dry layer of air, kilometers thick. From space, you can see it clearly. A brown river in the sky, thousands of kilometers long, moving west. We know the numbers because of a satellite called Calypso. It fired a laser down through the air. The laser measured the dust, layer by layer, for 7 years. Then, scientists added it all up. Most of that dust falls into the ocean. But about 28 million tons reaches South America each year. It settles over the Amazon basin, and inside, that dust is around 22,000 tons of phosphorus. That is very close to the amount the rainforest loses to its rivers every year. Almost a perfect match. The desert is not just sitting next to the forest. It is refilling it, storm after storm, year after year. Now here is the strange part. Most of that dust does not come from the whole Sahara. It comes from one small area in the north of the country Chad. It is called the Bottle Depression. It is often called the dustiest place on Earth. A flat, cracked, pale basin, baked hard by the sun. Wind is squeezed between two mountain ranges. It speeds up, drops down, and slams into the floor of the basin. It tears up the surface and throws it into the sky. But that surface is not ordinary sand. It is the bottom of a lake that dried up long before any city was ever built. Because the Sahara has not always been a desert. Around 11,000 years ago, it was green, grassland, rivers, lakes, hippos in the water, crocodiles, fish, herds of cattle, and people who followed them. Those people painted what they saw on rock walls. You can still find the paintings in the mountains today. Swimmers, cows, hunters, pictures of a wet world sitting in the middle of the driest place we know. And in that green world lay a lake so enormous that we now call it Lake Mega Chad. At its peak, it may have covered around 350,000 square kilometers. That is roughly the size of the Caspian Sea today. One of the largest lakes this planet has ever held. It was full of life, especially diatoms, tiny algae far too small to see, living inside glassy shells. They lived, they died, and they sank, layer after layer, for thousands and thousands of years. Then, the rains moved south, the grass died, the lake shrank, split apart, and finally dried away. What it left was a floor of pale powder, dead microscopic life, packed with phosphorus, waiting for wind. That is the dust. That is what is being lifted and thrown and carried across an entire ocean. So the food that keeps the Amazon alive today was grown inside a lake that no longer exists. The crossing takes roughly a week. The dust climbs high, drifts west, and sinks slowly through tropical clouds. Rain pulls it out of the sky, washes it into the soil, and the trees take it up through their roots. And that is only part of what this dust does. On the way, it changes the ocean and the weather. That hot, dry, dusty air acts like a lid. Scientists call it the Saharan air layer. Hurricanes need warm, wet, calm air to grow. This layer is dry and full of strong cutting winds. When it rolls over a young storm, the storm often weakens. The desert helps calm the Atlantic Ocean. The dust also feeds the sea. It carries iron, and iron feeds plankton, the tiny plants of the ocean. Plankton produce a huge share of the oxygen on this planet, so the desert reaches your lungs too. And when a big plume arrives over the Caribbean, the sky turns milky, and the sunsets turn deep red. This system is not fixed forever. The Sahara turns green again roughly every 20,000 years as the Earth slowly wobbles. One day the dust will stop, and the Amazon will have to live without it. That has happened before. It is easy to look at a desert and see an ending. Empty ground, a place where the story stopped. But the Sahara is not an ending. It is a green world that died, turned to powder, and learned to fly.